Let's shift gears now to the NBA Finals because that game shifts to Dallas tonight with the Celtics up 2-0. However, could they be without center Kristaps Porzingis again as he suffered what the team called a rare injury to his left leg and is officially listed as questionable tonight for the Celtics. Now, the Celtics said the injury occurred in the third quarter of their Game 2 victory, though it was unclear exactly what happened. So for a little more clarity, let's say hello to our NBA reporter, Tim Bontemps, who's with us live in Dallas. And Tim, maybe you can help us understand what exactly is going on here with Kristaps Porzingis. What is the status for him tonight for Game 3?
Well, I'll do my best, Shay, but this is one of the stranger situations I've been around, frankly, in my time covering the NBA. Because as you said, the Celtics announced just before availability yesterday that Kristaps Porzingis has this rare left leg issue, the opposite leg from what we thought was going to be the issue after he appeared to tweak that right leg at the end of Game 2. And both yesterday and today, after a shoot-around this morning, Kristaps Porzingis has been seen walking around with a sleeve on his leg and without any kind of a limp, frankly. And so he is questionable for tonight's game. Joe Mazzulla called this a serious injury and one that the Celtics have taken out of Kristaps Porzingis' hands in terms of whether he's going to play or not, putting it in the hands of the team's medical staff to determine whether he'll be able to go. But look, the Celtics through the first 2 games of this series were in dominant position. They didn't play particularly well on offense in either game. They won both of them by comfortable margins at home. They came here to Dallas in what would have potentially been the first time Kristaps Porzingis has played here in Dallas since being traded away 2.5 years ago in a commanding position to potentially maybe even sweep this series. And now this key piece of their team, one that missed more than 5 weeks of the playoffs before coming back in Game 1 and being a crucial part of those 2 victories for the Celtics, is now entirely unclear. As you said, he remains questionable for tonight's game, whether both he'll be able to play, and if he is able to be out there at all, how effective he's going to be, because we saw him late in that second half not looking very effective before he was pulled for the final few minutes of the game. So a huge question mark, Shay, ahead of this pivotal Game 3 in this series as Dallas tries to get back into this and Boston tries to get 1 win away from what would be a record-setting 18th NBA title.
Quickly, Tim, before I let you go, when do you expect there to be a decision on Kristaps Porzingis if he's going to play or not tonight in Game 3?
Honestly, I don't think we're going to know, Shay, right up until the half an hour or 45 minutes before the game when the Celtics have to determine whether Porzingis is active or not. And frankly, wouldn't surprise me at all, even if he's not going to play, that the Celtics leave him active and leave open the possibility of him playing, because it's not like he's starting. He's coming off the bench, and if he's active and available, then the Mavericks have to at least plan for him to be out there, and then we'll see midway through the first quarter whether Porzingis makes his usual return to the court.
Right, and Kristaps has come off the bench in the first 2 games of this series. Again, it shifts to Dallas tonight, 8:30 on ABC. Tim Bontemps, thank you very much. Game 3 of the NBA Finals is tonight in Dallas, where their superstar, Luka Doncic, has been dealing with injuries all season, but especially in Game 2. We learned before Game 2 that Luka had a chest injury. We know now that Doncic received a pain-killing injection to numb the area of his thoracic contusion before the game on Sunday. Doncic listed as probable for tonight's game, but what does this all mean? As we say hello to Tim MacMahon, who's with us in Dallas. And so, Tim, what is the latest on how Luka is feeling ahead of tonight?
Yeah, I'm told that he's going to get another painkiller injection tonight, today, as part of his pregame pep for Game 3. And look, it is that thoracic contusion. That's the issue in terms of pain. The right knee sprain is actually off the injury report. That's still something that he's been dealing with. But again, it's the chest bruise. That's a simpler way of saying thoracic contusion, which makes me sound smart. But the chest bruise is what's really giving him discomfort. They've come up with a way, though, to ease that discomfort. Now they've got to come up with a way to ease the burden. And that's real simple. It has to be Kyrie Irving playing up to a star level. If you don't believe me, just ask Kyrie. As he told us yesterday, he said, I told my hermano, referring to Luka, I got to play better alongside him. I got to be better for him.
Okay, well, that's good news. They'll get a shot at it tonight, of course, in Dallas. That's where Tim MacMahon is. Tim, we really appreciate the insight. Thank you for the update. Let's now say hello to Pelicans guard, NBA analyst CJ McCollum, who's joined us now. We just heard from Tim MacMahon, and he talked about Luka's health, of course, ahead of tonight. What do you see, though, as the key for both him and Kyrie Irving and this Mavs team to get in this series, essentially down 0-2?
I think the key is to get off to a good start and to honestly throw the first punch, especially in the first quarter, at home, backs against the wall, a chance to go from 0-2 to 1-2. I think the biggest thing for Kyrie is to get into the paint, take advantage of pick-and-roll opportunities, transition, For Luka, it's more of the same, being aggressive, but he's going to depend on Kyrie to help him out, especially throughout the game. They're going to also need their role players to step up. I look for Jason Kidd to tinker the lineups a little bit, maybe insert Tim Hardaway Jr. into the rotation and give him some playing time, maybe Hardy. They have to do something to kind of get that spark off the bench, but I think Kyrie's going to play big. I think he's due for a huge, huge game in Dallas tonight.
And you got to think the home cooking's got to help too, especially with Kyrie now being home in Dallas. On the other side, Kristaps Porzingis, questionable with the left leg injury. More injury concerns on this side. So how confident are you that the Celtics, who, yes, have won every game in the postseason on the road, that they can still continue to be good if they don't have Kristaps at 100%?
I think they're very comfortable with playing without him. Obviously, he helps the team. He makes them better. You've seen his impact in Game 1, what he's able to do on both sides of the floor. But you have the Jays, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. You have Drew Holiday, who's all-world, everything, Mr. Do-It-All. You have Derek White. You have Al Horford, who's a veteran who's used to doing all the little things, defending, hitting big shots. So I'm not worried about the Celtics losing this series. I think Dallas has the star power and the players that can win a game or games in this series. But I ultimately think Boston is the better team, and they've shown that throughout this season and throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, and remember, they are accustomed to playing without Kristaps Porzingis because he last played in Game 4 against Miami prior to the finals. We'll see what happens tonight. CJ McCollum, thank you for the insight. Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA over here,